Like you guys may know, Dangote has decided to dump the naira and he has started pricing his products in US dollars. What products is not all his products. I mean his petroleum products. Diesel fuel, jet fuel, aviation fuel, kerosene, and all those, you know, items those liquids that he refined from this his new refinery. A lot of you saw the news. So many people freaked out. So many people be like, now wow, now so one country did it. This Dangote refinery where would they talk say now plus to Nigeria? Is he going to be selling fuel now in dollars? Do we charge dollars in Nigeria? You see, first of all, there are certain things we need to look into here now, right? Pricing your product in a country, inside the country, where the legal tender is different. Is it legally allowed in Nigeria? Pricing your product in Nigeria, in US dollars, in pounds, euro, whatever, even if not for Ghana cedis, is it allowed in Nigeria? The question is, it is not allowed. You know, a lot of people has looked into this issue and it's like, okay, why do you now decide to price your item, your products, petroleum products in dollars? So does it mean we have to change and then pay? It might not necessarily be so. It might be that you pay the equivalent. So if you be say dollar they increase, you go see and say your price, your money go dey increase, right? Even when the fuel price in Nigeria is still, let me just explain certain things now. The disadvantage of this first, if the fuel price in Nigeria is not changed, or if it remains the same, but so long as there is a shift in dollars, right? Dangote meter will read differently. So there's possibility that fuel in Nigeria may cost 2,000, let's say, per liter. And maybe 1 liter in Nigeria is 1,800. I mean, $1 in Nigeria is 1,800. What you will see there in Dangote's pump price will be 1,800. That is the dollar cost, the dollar equivalent. But if it increases further, and even if Nigerian fuel still remains the same, Dangote own go change. That is what you should be expecting in this whole thing, right? And then now let us go to the other question. The question now is it allowed? Is it allowed to really, is it legal? Is it allowed? Because I know very well that there is an act, right? According to the CBN, 2007, there is an act which talks about this. We are going to find out. Let us go. Okay, according to this article, now you can see here now, it says, the legal position is based on Central Bank of Nigeria interpretation of the interpretation of Central Bank of Nigeria, the Act of 2007, under which the naira is the legal tender for every payment within Nigeria. The CBN has reportedly stated clearly that businesses should price and receive payments in naira for goods and services provided in naira in Nigeria. Refusing to accept naira as payments or insisting on payments in US dollars, euros, pounds, and etc. and other currencies, violates what? The law. Right? That is what CBN is saying. Now, according to this, their act in 2007, that if you refuse to price your products, with this local currency, you are pricing it in dollars, you are violating the law, and there could be penalties for that. So what about displaying prices in foreign currency? It is straightforward. Outing a preference price in foreign currencies, for example, the equivalent of $100 payable in naira at the prevailing exchange rate, may occur in some industries, especially where costs are tied to imports or exchange rates. However, Requiring customers to pay in foreign currency for a domestic transaction is generally prohibited. What they are trying to say now is that if you display your product can be equivalent of that dollars, which means if the dollars increases, your product can as well change, just like what I explained earlier, right? So, and these items actually is within those items that are imported, or maybe priced or purchased in US dollars. They have asked Dangote certain questions like, why did you price your item in US dollars? Did you not put into consideration the fact that this is Nigeria and all that? Well, first of all, the man has come out, according to the article they brought out, he has stated that, do you know that it is just a very little amount of oil that the NNPC sells to Dangote? It's just very little that they price in naira. But a huge amount of it, let us say maybe 80% of it, they price it in dollars, which means Dangote pays in dollars, buying those oil from NNPC in dollars. And then how do you price your product in naira? There will be leakages of funds, and in fact, they will use that to arbitrage. In fact, how they talk to hedge over you, and before you know, you'll be losing money. Yes, because if you buy your products in naira, you should be able to check your cost and services around that price which you purchase it for, and then when you want to take profit, you should take profit also within the frame of that purchases, right? That is what Dangote did. Dangote buys oil from NNPC. Maybe he buys very little percentage, 20%, 10% in naira. They price it in naira. But when it comes to the bigger purchase, they price it in dollars. Dangote pays dollars in buying. Those, a whole citizen of Nigeria buying crude oil from Nigeria in dollars. Does it make any sense? That is why you see Dangote said this. But anyway, let us go further. According to this CBN article 2007, they stated that are there exemptions? Even if people, okay, they say you no do this, you no do, you get certain people where BC will go exempt. Let us look at who are those people exempted from pricing their products in dollars. Yes, certain sectors and transactions are permitted by law or CBN regulations to transact in foreign currencies, which means these certain groups are exempted. They are permitted by this very, very law. And which groups are these groups? We have oil and gas operations. We have maritime and aviation services, export processing free trade zone, specified government agencies, and other categories expressly authorized by the CBN. In addition, genuine international transactions, for example, exports to customers outside Nigeria, may naturally be priced and paid in foreign currency. So you see that Dangote actually falls within this category. So if they can sell oil to him with pricing oil is being sold to a citizen in dollars, why not? He himself can do the same. Even this article has spelled it out that he is exempted from it. But the only problem here now is that Nigerians, are you people going to buy dollar to buy before you buy Dangote this thing? You may not do that. What you only do is that you pay the equivalent of per dollar. But another problem I have here is that, is this price going to be priced based on BDC? The local roadside BDC, or is it going to be priced based on the central bank exchange rate? Because there are two, I hope you know that there are two exchange rates in Nigeria. Yes, central bank and those BDCs you see there. So how is Dangote going to price his, how are the fluctuations going to come? Is it going to be in central bank exchange rate or according to those other smaller banks exchange rate? This is View Africa 24. You see here, we analyze the news the way it is and we treat it squarely how it is. If this is your first time of seeing this video, do not forget to follow us and see you again in our next update. Bye.